I've tried to break this orbit. I'm tired of waiting for it, the bright side to come back around. You don't see me now, I won't shine till I come down. I'm just another satellite in your sky. I'm just another satellite in your sky. Da, 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 da.
Welcome to the Rock and Review. You know, she's a singer, songwriter, pianist, TV star, film star, Alicia Witt. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
You know, it sounds so amazing. And once again, that is one of your songs off your brand new album that came out this last year, 15,000 Days.
Yes.
And that is Satellite.
Yes.
Which I love, one of my favorite songs on here.
That's why I played it.
You know, and it's like the cover on here, we were talking earlier before we came in the studio, what a beautiful painting of you that adorns the cover of this new album.
Yes, thank you. That is a beautiful work of art by Rob Pryor, who is an artist that I met actually when I was doing the Walking Dead conventions.
Right.
After I'd been on that show. He goes to a lot of those, and he's one of those guys that will just stand there and create these incredible works of art on the spot.
Wow.
Of various actors from that show or various other sci-fi and
Yeah.
fantasy shows. And we got to talking one day, I think we were in Charlotte, and he heard about my record, the fact that Shakir King is producing it, and
Right.
And the Kickstarter campaign I was launching to bring it to life, and
Yeah.
he pledged right there in the moment to create the artwork for me.
How amazing.
And so he did.
Yeah, it looks great. And then also on the back of the cover, it's got you in an amazing dress, which I thought was Victorian, and you told me that was made from a parachute.
Yes, it's a World War II parachute that was actually used at that time.
Wow.
My
Well, I'll
friend
tell you what,
Alan took that photo.
It's such a great album, and this is your fourth studio album.
Yes.
And I want to bring up to our viewers, too, who obviously know you from The Walking Dead and from Nashville, and even when you started out as a child in Dune.
Yes.
And then your many Hallmark. I think when we walked through the TV station early, Alicia, we kind of walked through your career because everybody knew you from different shows.
Yes.
And then you come to me, it's like, hey, let's talk music.
Yes, which I love. I love them equally.
Yeah,
I really
and it's
do.
so neat that you get to do them all. And I was amazed that, you know, while you were doing these TV shows, while you're doing Nashville and everything else, you're writing songs. And, you know, and you started playing at such a young age. But also we were talking about that your dad was a guitar and banjo player.
Yes.
And your grandfather was a pianist, and you said you used to do like the honky tonk.
Oh, yeah. He would be like, you know, that sort of thing. And he would play all the songs from the 1920s.
Right.
Like old songs. And he just took such joy in it, totally self-taught.
That is amazing.
I
So
still
you're carrying
feel
on the
his
family
spirit
tradition.
around me, for sure.
You're keeping it alive. Well, I
Yeah.
want to bring up, too, a lot of our viewers may not know, Alicia, that, you know, back when you first got started in L.A., you were playing gigs to kind of support yourself. And you were telling me you called yourself a musician before you called yourself an actress.
Yes, because I felt this real sense that there's so many people who come to LA to be actors. And I felt as though until I'm making a living at it, and that's really how I'm paying my rent,
Right.
I didn't want to say I'm an actor. And so I would say I'm a musician and an actor. And then when I got my first series, which was Sybil, I quit my job at the Beverly Wilshire, where I'd played for 2.5 years background music.
Right.
And then I said from that point on that I was an actor. And now, in the last 10 years that I've been making my own music
Right.
in earnest, I am an actor and a singer-songwriter.
So do you feel like it's kind of come full circle for you then?
Completely, but as we were talking about earlier, there's such a different kind of vulnerability when it comes to doing your own songs.
yes.
So for me, playing other people's songs, classics or classical music,
Right.
didn't feel that scary. It's just a beautiful way of communicating. But when it comes to songs that I've written and I'm out there with my voice and my heart and soul,
Right.
sharing it with people, that is definitely a lot more vulnerable and, by the same token, much more rewarding.
Well, you know, and I was telling you also from listening to your album cuts, which I love this album, and I think your other bodies of work have been great, but this music to me, the lyrics really speak, and I think they bring about an imagery, even with Still Sorry, with Younger, Earful, all of these songs that you narrowed it down to from 18 songs.
Yeah.
They obviously, you wrote them from the heart.
Yes. Yes. And hopefully this record, 15,000 Days, also speaks to my sense of optimism, that even in a song like Satellite, which is about coming to terms with realizing you are just another sort of pretty floaty object to this person,
Right.
and you don't necessarily want to remain that. But there's an optimism in it, because once you come to terms with that, then you can move on, and
It's
it might be
liberating.
sad, but it's liberating, exactly.
I totally agree. Well, and I think it's so great too that while you're doing this big tour that kicks off next week in Boston, it's like you're going back home again from where you're raised. You're going to be doing some meet and greets also, aren't you? To where if people want to get tickets and they want to meet you and have things signed, an album signed, and you have the vinyls and all that, they can do that at the shows, right?
Yes, before each show there will be a very limited number of VIP meet and greet tickets. And that is actually becoming my favorite part of going on tour, because it gives me an opportunity to meet some of these people who have been listening to my music or whatever through the years. And when I'm playing the show, it is so good to actually see people in the audience that I just spoke to.
Right.
It helps me to feel like I'm performing just for each of them.
Well, and I think it's so great that through this tour that you're going to be doing, all summer long, which I think it's great that you make the time to chase this passion as well, because obviously with your acting career is doing so well, with TV, with film, with theater, you're like a staple on Hallmark now. But I think it's so incredible that you still, work the music, you play all the time, you're constantly writing. You said you're already writing new songs. You still have leftover songs that didn't make it on this album.
I have so many songs that are not recorded yet. And I always love to play several of them at my shows too.
Right.
Each night it'll be a few different ones, just to keep it interesting.
And you're kind of mixing it up too, to where some of the shows you're doing with like you and a drummer, and some of them are just you solo.
Yes, I'm going to be touring with a drummer for this entire tour.
Oh, good.
So he and I will be sharing driving duties. We'll be playing together at the shows, and then I always have him step off for part of the show, so I can just sit with my beautiful Casio.
And you and I were talking about how you got introduced to Casio keyboards too, that you've been working with them for a while, and then it's so great that depending on where you're touring around the country, they will bring in keyboards for you, but this is their latest model that I saw at the Winter NAMM show in January.
Yes, this is the PX S1000, and not only does it look exactly like a piano, and the touch of the keys is so piano-like, but it just, the touch of it, the way that you can just really sink in, and
it sounds incredible.
You're the way that you would play a piano to get it to be more emphatic or gentler. It's very different from the way most electric keyboards operate. And I also have to point out how much I love the pedal that this comes with.
Yeah.
It's actually something you can get separately. But I love this because you have the soft pedal. And
it gives you the real feel.
Yeah.
As do the weighted keys.
Oh, I love it. And this is just the internal speaker.
I was going to bring that up. We're not even running you through a PA system or the board or anything. We're just taking that sound from the speakers.
Yeah.
And so obviously while you're on tour, you'll have it going through a PA system and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But it sounds incredible, and your playing is just wow.
Thank you. Well, it's something that's very dear to my heart, and I look forward to playing in all of these cities, many of which I've never performed in before.
Really?
It's 20 different dates all throughout North America.
That is so amazing. But you know what, though? I mean, it has to be exciting, Alicia, because you've already played the Grand Ole Opry also.
Yes. Yes.
How many people get to do that?
That is a night I will remember for the rest of my life, my Opry debut. 4,400 people, and it feels like you're sitting in someone's living room, because the energy in that structure is so warm and welcoming, and you feel the artists who have come before you, who have stood in that sacred spot.
Yeah.
And I swear I didn't feel one butterfly. I just felt like I'm here to sing these songs. The Opryland Band backed me up.
Oh my gosh, just incredible musicians. Jimmy Capps and Randy and all of them.
Yes.
They're just amazing. But, you know, and I was telling you too, I found it so interesting with you doing the show Nashville that it was, once again, kind of coming full circle. It kind of merged multiple passions for you
Yes.
with the acting, with the music, with everything. And it has to be odd when people walk up to you and they know you from different things. And it's like, and you don't know which one. It could be your music. They may only know you from your albums, which obviously your music gets played a lot as well. And so it's like you just sort of have to react to what they know you from.
I love that. I mean, that's what I've always wanted to do as an actor, is play enough different types of roles so that I wouldn't get to a point in my career where I would only be cast in one type of part.
Right.
Because that's what keeps it interesting for me.
Totally.
But the most awkward question, which I do get asked on a pretty much daily basis, is, you look so familiar. What do I know you from? And I never mean to be a jerk, and
Right.
I will say this to them. I'm not being rude, I promise, but I have been acting since I was 7, and I have no idea what you've seen.
Yeah.
We could be standing here a long time.
And playing piano since you were 7.
Yes.
Which is,
Both.
you know, I think it's so great, though, that you still keep your passion for the music and continue to create and do these songs. And to me, on Alicia, I think that when people, you know, buy a copy, however you consume music, whether you download the singles or whatever, but I like having the hard copy. And if you do the meet and greet before the shows, too, you get this signed. But I think they're going to know your heart and know you more listening to your music, don't you?
I do. I felt like when I started being brave enough to play my music, my own music, out in public about 10 years ago. Opening for Jimmy Webb was actually my first ever gig.
Oh my gosh.
And I knew from that moment on that it was as much a part of me as any of the acting stuff,
Right.
but it actually feeds every other part of me, because this is 100% my heart and soul. And when you're playing a role, you're often doing lines that somebody else wrote and playing a character that is not that related to you.
Right.
And when I'm out there in front of an audience, I am in control of what you're going to hear that night, and hopefully I get to unite everybody in that room, regardless of differences in political opinions or personal differences. All these people that may not think they have anything in common with each other, if they're all listening and they're all feeling something from my songs,
Right.
then I feel like I've done my job.
Well, I think they're going to definitely enjoy it just came out last year, and so be sure, you know, like I said, however you consume your music, 15,000 Days. It's a great album. You're going to love all 5 tracks, and plus the tour this summer, 20 dates. And so they should go to your website and your social media?
Yes, AliciaWittMusic.com is where to go to get all the tickets to all of the dates and find out what the cities are I'm playing in.
And the meet and greets.
And the meet and greets. You can buy your tickets to your meet and greet, as well as the ticket to the show.
And they can download the songs at everywhere they consume music, Amazon,
Yes.
Spotify, iTunes, you name it.
Yes.
Although I still prefer having the hard copy. Like this.
And that one, the hard copy, is only available through my website, my online store.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a testament to you continuing your music that you grew up doing, and that you get to go on the road and still do something you love and take some time off from acting, you know, whether it be TV, film, theater, whatever, and just make some music that you created and you love and share it with fans.
Yes, thank you.
Are you going to play a song to take us out of this?
I would love to. Here's Blinkers, part of Blinkers. Go on, you got this one life to live. You gotta take up your hook and sail. Let go, you know the let down. Give it a chance, why don't you to fail?